Hello, back again so soon, some of you may be thinking. Yes, I am back playing Splitgate after just 3 days. Took a break for a few days, I've tried again, and this video is going to be me giving some more constructive criticism and feedback and suggestions on how I would change the game, because I still believe that ranked play is horrible, as I said in my previous video, which got quite a lot of attention, and tons of people agree with me. That video has a 76% like rating, 247 comments, and I went through Twitter and tons of Splitgate pros are saying that ranked is really bad right now. There's loads of people in the Discord saying the same, people on Reddit saying the same, people on the Steam reviews saying the same. So I've gone through and collected a ton of data from myself and other people, and I'm going to compile it into one video. So first off, let's quickly breeze over my experience. In my previous video, I said that ranked was just like 90% Sabrask and shotguns. That meta seems to have shifted. It's now Sabrask and Rattler. I played a match just now, and 3 people on my team, including me, because I have to play the meta, otherwise I lose, 3 people were using Sabrask and the Rattler, and we won 3-0, 3-0. But if I use anything else, I lose. I've played 5 matches, and in every match that I use Sabrask and Rattler, we win. That is the meta right now. It's incredibly overpowered. There was also a ton of people, myself included, saying that the rank system is incredibly flawed and pushes people away. A few people came to the comments section to defend the rank system, saying that games such as Marvel Rivals and I think COD do the same system. The problem is, those games have a massive concurrent user base. Those games have hundreds of thousands of players online at the same time. Splitgate doesn't. Therefore, statistically, you are more likely in Splitgate to match somebody that you are not actually equal skill level with. Also, it was confirmed on Twitter by a dev that the game uses your hidden MMR or your casual play statistics to base your ranked matches off of. So if I do really well in casual, for example, the game thinks, this player's pretty good. Let's pair him against the top 200 players in ranked when he starts out, even though he's in bronze. What the system Splitgate made doesn't do is say, Nadestraight is in bronze, let's pair him with other bronze players. It doesn't work like that. It bases it off of how you performed in casual. So my first ranked game, and tons of other people's first ranked games, was literally against people that are now in the top 200 and are champion rank, which presents a big problem, because you lose to them, it pushes you away from playing the game because it's demoralizing and it's not fun, therefore you don't want to play, and with a player base so little, you can't afford to have a system like that, because you're going to push more people away and the player base is just going to dwindle down. Final thing on this before we move on to some suggestions for improvements. A lot of people tried to defend this and say that eventually it'll flush people out into the right divisions and things, which, yes, it would do. The problem is people aren't going to stick around long enough for it to do that, because if people have to go through a painful struggle of their first 5, 6, 7, 8 ranked matches to get to where they deserve to be, that's a big ask. Most people aren't going to do that. They're going to play 2 or 3, get really frustrated and leave the game, which is what I believe is happening. So what would I do to change things up? I actually think that the core Splitgate gameplay is fantastic. I previously said it is the best shooter of 2025, and I will still stick to that statement when it comes to the game's core gameplay. The core gunplay is still some of the best that I've played in recent years. Casual is incredibly fun. BR is actually quite fun. In fact, BR is probably what I've sunk the most hours into, which is very surprising for me, because I haven't played a BR since Apex Legends came out. But ranked needs a ton of work. I do not think that ranked play should be essentially casual with a number attached to it. That's basically what it is right now. Ranked play should be so different than casual play. Ranked play should be like the old days in Halo 3, Halo Reach, where you had an MLG playlist, and the settings were all based off of something that the pros of the game had created through gentleman agreements, through pugs, through private matches together, through tournaments, etc., etc., etc. And what I believe people will want is to bring the game back down to its core, where everyone starts on an even playing field, where precision weapons are what you use in ranked, rather than just rattlers and trailblazers and automatic weapons. The synapse, those are like the top 3 weapons I see in ranked right now. There is no incentive to use a carbine or a BR in Splitgate ranked. And what ranked modes in shooter games are usually known for is good aim, high precision, map awareness, and teamwork. And currently, Splitgate doesn't have much of that. You just run around with automatic weapons, deploy the Sabrask wall whenever you are hurt and nobody can do anything to you. I mean, there's literally a screenshot somewhere of a full 4-stack of Sabrasks, and they just have walls like surrounding each other so you can't do any damage. And to me, that's not skill, it's just abusing a gimmick. Splitgate 1 had an old system for ranked where you got to pick between 2 loadouts, and I think that Splitgate 2 should go back to this. You could choose to use a carbine and a pistol or a BR and a pistol. The game starts, you click if you want to play BR or carbine, you spawn in, and every time you spawn, you can change that loadout if you want to swap the weapon, and that's what I believe Splitgate 2 should do as well. And if you want to keep the factions as they are, fine, do it, but have different factions, have different loadouts for ranked. Have Sabrask, Eros, Meridian, but you can only choose carbine or BR. I truly believe that automatic weapons have no place in a competitive playlist, and I know that every Halo fan watching this will agree with me. As for the power weapons on the map, I think most of them are fine. The only thing I'd change is the split stream. Again, it's an automatic. I'd take that out and put the shotguns on the map as power weapons, not weapons you can spawn with. Put the plow as a power weapon, for example, on a map. Sniper rifles, rocket launchers, and the bat, those are also fine. Again, those are like tier 3 power weapons that belong as pickups on the map. And with those changes, I believe that you have a much better rank system already. Now, the cream on top, the cherry on top, would be a system that works better. Would be a system that is placements first, then deserved division. But I know that that's probably a lot of dev work and requires more time. Maybe as like a ranked season 2, they could try a new system like that. I think in terms of ranked system, we're probably going to have to stick with this one and ride it out for now. But with some balancing changes, some loadout changes, some weapon placement on map changes, I think we can make ranked a much more enjoyable experience. Next up is the game modes. Currently, there are 3 game modes, and they're all objective based. Again, I would include Domination and Team Deathmatch into the ranked playlist. I don't know why they're not in there. I think a few people have voiced the fact that Deathmatch should be in there. Again, I know that like Call of Duty has objective modes only and doesn't have Deathmatch, but with this game being so similar to Halo, I think it should have Deathmatch in there. It was in the first one. There's no reason to remove it from the second one. That's it. I'd shove Domination and Deathmatch into the mix as well. Looking into the future, I think that will also help with like tournaments and things. Having only 3 modes is going to get really repetitive. So if you're doing like a best of 5 or a best of 7 series, having 5 game modes is much better for things like that. And I'd also just remove the radar altogether. Again, in hardcore modes, in ranked modes, we barely ever see radar make an appearance in shooter games. Just remove it. I am aware that the radar doesn't actually display someone when they're shooting, according to Akuvo, but I'd just remove it. Just remove it. There's no reason for it to be there. And then there's 2 more things that I would add, which are the fact that currently there's no ranked leaderboards. I mean, the first game had the top, was it the top 100 or top 200, or maybe eventually even went to 500 in-game leaderboards, which I think they've said they're working on, and currently they always say we're on Tracker Network for now. Hopefully, ranked leaderboards in-game, so people don't have to leave your product to go and view leaderboards, which, by the way, Tracker doesn't have ranked yet. It only has casual and an onslaught leaderboards, so ranked leaderboards in-game, so you can see where you stack up in the list of players that are playing the ranked playlist, would be huge. Again, things that the first game had, the second game should have. Currently, the second game feels like a downgrade from the first. Everything that Splitgate 1 had, Splitgate 2 needs. Again, so ranked takedown, that was a thing as well. There's my second point. Ranked Takedown needs to make an appearance. I think they've also said that they are aware people want it and they're going to bring it in the future. They're just starting out with Arena first. Just do it. Like, if you can do it for Arena, I imagine it's not that difficult for you to do for the Takedown maps as well. There's no reason to delay it. Just add it. The players want it. I think the professional players, the hardcore competitive players actually prefer Takedown over Arena as well, so there's even more incentive to do it. I think you actually would have been better off doing Ranked Takedown first. So there we go. That's the other thing as well. And just to end off the video, some other things which aren't related to Ranked that I think the game does need. Replay mode, definitely needed, and I think if you want to do tournaments and things like that, you're going to need like a spectator, replay, observer style mode. I also think that races should be in the game. I've voiced this before on a Twitter post. The first game had races, which were incredibly fun. It was like a separate mini game within Splitgate, and there was a whole community based around trying to get the world record lap times on different maps, which people still do to this day on Splitgate 1. I still see people's lap times pop up on my Twitter feed, seeing clips of people dash around maps in like 21 seconds and stuff, and they're always fun to watch. And it's a great way to practice your portaling as well. Finally, two more things. An after action report. So you can see how many kills you got, how many assists you got, how many deaths you had, your KD, the player that you killed the most, the player you killed most by, weapons you got with each weapon, how many melees you got, etc. Just like they have a service report in Halo, COD, whatever, like any game, that would be something that Splitgate 2 needs. And finally, medals. Medals for double kills, triple kills, killing sprees, sniper sprees, ball capturing sprees, you know, whatever, like killing someone with headshots, no scopes, grenades, etc. Just, you know, the stuff that we've come to expect from an arena shooter style game. And that's kind of everything. There is quite a lot there, and I imagine everything that I said is on the radar. The problem is, it should have launched with the game. This is the last thing I'll say. The game feels like we got a beta and they just slapped a launch sign on it and, and shoved it out the door. The game should have stayed in beta for longer. And I think it was shoved out of the door to meet the Summer Game Fest deadline. But really, like, the game should have launched, like, not even now. The game, you know, if this is the state the game is in, I think the game needed another 3-4 months in the oven. But here we are, and hopefully they can make the right changes quickly to stop the bleeding, because the player base is still slowly dwindling down. I think the peak in the past 24 hours was 3,800 on Steam. And I think Ranked in its current state is going to do more damage than good. So hopefully we can get some changes. And I know for a fact that the vast majority of people share the same concerns that I do, have very similar feedback than I do. Yes, there's some people that disagree, but when it comes to talking about a majority, I know for a fact that most people agree with the changes that I want, because I've seen it across socials, Discord, Reddit, the comments section, other people's videos. So yeah, you can argue all you want, but I know for a fact this is the majority feedback. So yeah, hopefully we can get these changes, because we all want what's best for the game. We don't say these things and make these videos to shit on the game. We make these videos in the hopes that we are heard and the devs make the changes that are necessary to better the game and bring more players back, because we all want to see it thrive. I don't want to end up in a world where Splitgate doesn't exist, because, you know, currently there isn't going to be a Splitgate 3 at this rate, is there? If this one isn't successful, they're not going to try it again. So we need this one to, you know, we need this one to have a comeback. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully the changes can be made, players come back, and future seasons can see a bit of a resurgence for the game. It happened before, it can happen again. We all remember the days where Splitgate 1 had 70,000 people online. It can happen again if the right changes are made, and once they're made, a huge marketing push brings people back to the game. So hopefully that's what we see. All right. Thanks for watching this. Hopefully I conveyed the points, you know, articulately enough, and this wasn't a mumbo jumbo mess of a video. I know I do sometimes talk kind of fast, and people might get a bit confused, and I often see people that are slightly muddled up with things I've said in the comments, but hopefully some of the points that I've made in this video can sink into those watching, and hopefully some of the people watching are devs. So yeah. Alright, thanks for those who watch videos like this. Let me know your feedback in the comments. Please try not to have an argument, like let's have a friendly debate. Give your feedback, your suggestions. What points do you agree with? What points do you not agree with? And if you don't agree with anything, give a reason as to why, and we can debate it in the comments. As always, make sure to subscribe. Leave a like on the video or a dislike if you didn't like it. Let me know. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.